On the 6th of December 1492, Christopher Columbus landed on the shore of an unknown island that he named Hispaniola, Little Spain. He wrote in his logbook, "Hispaniola is a wonder. In all Castile there is no land that compares to its beauty and quality. We have found the Garden of Eden." More than 5 centuries later, the paradise of Hispaniola looks a bit odd. At the eastern coast of the island, close to Punta Cana, the Coconut Coast welcomes more than 70,000 tourists every week through the year, and gigantic hotel complexes have grown up like mushrooms in the sand. Split between Haiti in the west and the Dominican Republic in the east, Hispaniola is the most visited island in the Caribbean. But away from the bustle, the Garden of Eden that Columbus discovered still exists. To find it, you have to lose yourself and travel over the historic land of the Taino Indians to meet the guardians who have protected it. In the north of the island, where the Santa Maria landed, the inhabitants of Yamaragua have always lived beside a treasure: 21 waterfalls in the heart of the forest.
I like being in contact with nature. I like to smell and breathe the air of this unpolluted forest. I like this water because it's fresh. I like to swim, and I like to help people to feel good.
The people are tourists who, like Guillermo, love the forest and good slides. The community of Yamaragua had the idea of developing its natural treasure and sharing it with others.
I've been a guide for 15 years now, and I love this work. We are the guardians of nature. That means that if we take good care of it, nature will have a longer life.
Devising a model for the development of ecotourism is the challenge for the Dominican Republic. The southwest is the poorest region of the island, but its beauty and its potential make it very desirable for developers. Conscious of the danger, the Dominican authorities have created 3 large national parks. The Yaragua, Baruco, and Enriquillo parks are the final frontier against the greed of man. This is where Johan, who runs a small tourist agency with other French people, offers travellers a boat ride along the last wild beaches of the island.
We're on the coast of JVirago Park, which is the biggest nature reserve in the Dominican Republic, at 1,400 square kilometers. Here we're at Punta Chimanche, between the Bahia de las Anguillas and the Playa Caliente. It's a completely protected area, only accessible by boat or 4x4. It's the last natural beach of the Dominican Republic, and it's also where the local fishermen live. They spend part of the year in these coastal villages, and they live from fishing locally.
Johan would like to make Lança, a village for local fishermen in the south of the island, into a real base for his excursions. But the fishermen are wary of the idea of tourist development.
So tell me, what ideas have you got for including the local population in your projects, so we don't feel excluded?
Yes. As we've already seen in the north and the east, there are several stages. The first is to create a destination and to set up sustainable ecological tourism.
The main problem I see is that the fishermen who come and live here don't have a clear understanding of what they've actually got right now in their hands. We can already see a certain amount of environmental damage. From here, almost all the way to Oviedo, it's a breeding area for fish. It's not very deep, with crystal clear water. Many species of fish hatch out there, and some fishermen use nets with a close mesh, and they catch tiny little fish that are hardly more than embryos. And that breaks the whole ecological chain.
We need to find a way to inform and educate people, and to make them understand that we have a treasure here that must be protected.
Originally from Brazil and Venezuela, the first inhabitants of the island, the Taino Indians, were also local fishermen. When they were looking for new fishing waters, they landed here on the coast of the JVirago Park. A little further north, wedged between two mountains, Lake Enriquillo, also a national park, is the largest saltwater lake in the Caribbean. People say that the Taino shaman settled here between two rocks to pray to the sun and the spirits of the lake. As both guides and forest wardens, Pedro and Mona count and observe the different species of migratory birds on the lake. In the center of Lake Enriquillo, Cabritos Island is a paradise for iguanas, but also for mosquitoes. The Spaniards nicknamed this place Hell.
Historically, Cabritos Island is an important place for the Dominican Republic and the southwest region. It was pretty much one of the last refuges for the Taino Indians, who came from South America and lived here before the Spaniards arrived. When the conquistadors came, the Taínos were persecuted, and many of them died. There was a big battle here in the southwest area, at Bajaruco, and the final fighting was here on Cabritos Island. It was a very good hiding place for the Taínos, because the island is very arid and hostile for the Spanish, who didn't survive the fighting.
In spite of their resistance, the Taínos could do nothing against the march of history. Before the arrival of the Spanish, 1 million Indians lived on the island and had the most advanced civilization in the Antilles. In the space of 50 years, they were exterminated, decimated by forced labor, wars and disease. In the north of the island, Los Haitis National Park was the last refuge and the tomb of the last Taino Indians. For 25 years, Pierre Fayette, fascinated by their history, has traveled around Los Haitis Park looking for traces of their lost civilization.
Tainos means good men, so people who were good. They didn't know jealousy or envy, and they lived in peace, up until the 14th of October 1492, when the Europeans landed on their island. Of course, the conquistadors needed labor to build their cities, extract the gold and work in the mines. So they turned the Tainos into slaves. Many preferred to escape and to take refuge in places like this. This petroglyph represents a bat, which, according to the Indian tradition, was the symbol of reincarnation. The Tainos believed in this second life after death, in the form of an owl for important people, and in the form of a bat, as we see here. So this is one of the last traces of these millions of Indians who were wiped out between 1492 and 1530.
Above Los Haitis Park, in the north of the island, the Samana Peninsula stretches into the Atlantic Ocean.
Ça, c'est bien.
Gerard Pristaz knows all about the demand and the taste for good quality. As a formal personal chef to François Mitterrand at the Élysée Palace, Gerard came to the Samana Peninsula 11 years ago and never left.
There's not a lot of fishing here. There's no industrial fishing. So I bought a boat with a motor, and I have a team of fishermen who go out and fish for me every day. That way I don't have any problems anymore. I have fresh fish every day, fresh spiny lobsters and slipper lobsters. It's super fresh produce.
A pearl hidden in the jungle is the El Limon waterfall, 50 meters in height. The residents of Las Terrenas and Samana, like Gerard and his friend Pierre Fayette, come here on foot or on horseback to have some fun. Just like the Spaniards 500 years ago.
These are papaya leaves, Pierre.
And what are they for?
To tenderize the meat.
Oh, yes?
Nothing better.
I didn't know that.
You wrap up beef fillets or rump steak in them and leave it for 2 days. There's a little bit of juice that coats the fillet, goes into the meat and makes it tender.
Doesn't it give it a taste?
No taste at all. I've got enough now. Enough for everyone.
Five centuries after its discovery, the Pearl of the Caribbean, the favorite of Columbus, still reveals unknown treasures, like this cave discovered by chance in 1981 by a helicopter flying over the jungle. It was a cave used by the Taínos, known today as one of the best places for diving in the world, according to Alain, the manager of a diving club near Santo Domingo.
People think that the Indians use this water supply for drinking water, since it's very pure. It has been filtered by the rock. The magic of the two tunnels where we dive is that they're completely covered with dead coral and fossil shells, more than 20 million years old. I've done nearly 200 dives in these caves, and I've never got tired of it. It's really another planet, another world. It's very different from diving in the sea. It's calm. There's the atmosphere, the magical colors, the peacefulness. For me, it's really among the 5 best dives I've ever done. It's historic, amazing.
A few kilometers from Las Terrenas, away from the small French community that lives in this area, Gerard quietly cultivates his little Garden of Eden in his quest for new flavors.
So, we take the beef fillet and we're going to wrap our beef fillet in the papaya leaves. So, I wrap it up well. It will go in the fridge like that for 2 days. All the substance of the papaya will flow over the fillet, penetrate it, and tenderize it. I've decided to cook a chicken thigh stuffed with a spiny lobster, a beautiful spiny lobster that we got from the market. And now, I'll roast it and flambe it in rum. We came on holiday to the Dominican Republic in 1990, and my ex-wife said, "This is where I want to live." By chance, we passed the Playa Bonita. There was nothing here but this hotel, which was in ruins, and she said, "That's the place." I said to myself, "It's a new challenge." So I left everything, and the next year we came here. That was 11 years ago.
Et ça fait 11 ans.
Here we are, the chicken thigh, stuffed with spiny lobster with some little prawns, and a slightly creamy lobster bisque sauce. The tourism in Las Terrenas is completely different from the tourism in Punta Cana or Puerto Plata. It's completely natural, in direct contact with the local people. We live with the population, so that's pleasant since they're very kind. The people have hearts of gold. That's what I really liked.
I'm a stranger in love on the path, says the song. Gerard, Johan, Pierre and Kim found their paradise in the Dominican Republic. So why not set out tomorrow and follow in their footsteps? It's a path that leads to adventure.